Season is well and truly back. As I said before, I'm still recovering from last season, but with the League Cup fixtures now having taken place in the first round, the season is back and the EFL season will kick off towards the end of this week. I thought it would be the perfect time to do my League One predictions. First off, let's look at an overview of the season and the teams that will be in the third tier. So I hope you can all see this. Following an admirable start to life back in the third tier, AFC Wimbledon were made to endure an anxious wait to guarantee safety after losing many of their final remaining games, 9 out of the last 11 to be exact. Johnny Jackson's Dons will need to find some solid additions to their squad, or it could be 2 seasons and out back down to League 2. It's certainly been a tough few seasons to support Barnsley Football Club over the last few years, with relegation and playoff heartbreak now turning to mid-table disappointment and apathy. The Tigers, who 5 years ago were challenging for promotion back to the Premier League, will definitely be hoping that the return of Daniel Stendel as manager would help bring renewed hope of promotion back to the second tier. Blackpool oversaw a strong end to the season last season after looking like they were potential relegation candidates beforehand. Ian Evatt will be looking to carry forward such momentum into the upcoming season as they hope to end the 4-year exile from the Championship. In Bradford City's first season back in League One following a 6-year absence, the Bantam surprised fans with a fantastic top 4 finish before suffering playoff heartbreak. How Graham Alexander, whose men only achieved 1 fewer point last season in their promotion season the season beforehand, would love to go that one step further this time round. Bromley also surprised fans last season. They achieved a shock League 2 title. It will be a big ask for the Ravens, who only got promoted to the Football League 2 years ago, to find their feet in the third tier. However, on the back of a season where they stayed unbeaten at home throughout the whole campaign, could Andy Woodham be up for the task? Burton Albion made some small progress last season as they finished 4 places above the drop zone as opposed to just 1 like they did in 2024-2025. The challenge continues, however, though, to avoid the drop for the Brewers, who, since being relegated to League One in 2018, have never finished higher than 9th. Surely Gary Bowyer must be up for the task of looking to break that trend after such a strong finish to last season. Cambridge United ensured their stay in League 2 was just a short one. Neil Harris guided Hughes back to League 1 at the first attempt, as they conceded fewer goals than any other team. Being all too aware of how tough a challenge it is to avoid relegation, United will need to carry forward their form and momentum from last season if they are to avoid becoming a League 1 and 2 yo-yo club. Doncaster Rovers continued their stronger progress under Grant McCann, with a very respectable 14th place finish since returning to the third tier. Under a manager who won League One just 5 years ago, Rovers will be hoping to continue riding the crest of a wave and make a push for the players that finally found their feet last season in the end. Now, the sequence of tough season continued for Huddersfield Town last season. After making another strong start to the season, they were made to rue a second half of the season slump, and for the second season running, the Terriers, who 4 years ago came agonisingly close to returning to the Premier League and scored more goals than 20 other teams last season, will be praying that Martin Drury will be the right man to take them back to the Championship. A similar first sentence could definitely be said about Leicester City. After enduring a shock relegation from the Championship, the Foxes, who 10 years ago won the Premier League, surprising us all, they find themselves back in League One for the first time since 2009. With 3 relegations and 1 promotion in 4 seasons, nothing less than an immediate return to the second tier will be seen as an acceptable season for Russell Martin's men. It was a disappointing season last term for Leyton Orient Football Club. Following an agonising playoff final loss in 2025, Richie Wellens' men would have been hoping to do a lot better than to only just avoid relegation last season. Those will need to carry forward some better form towards the end of last season into this season if they'd have a better campaign. Something similar could be said for Luton Town. Despite winning the EFL trophy, new manager Jack Wilshere saw his side find form just a little too late in the end, as they agonisingly missed out on the playoffs at the end of the season. After 3 tough and heartbreaking seasons, surely only a return back to the Championship will see the Hatters have an acceptable season. Milton Keynes Dons returned to League One after a 3-year absence. The Dons made history last season by becoming the first team to finish first, second and third in League Two, all under a manager called Paul. And their manager, Paul Bourne, he's won more promotion to the Championship than any other manager since first becoming one back in 2016. He'd love nothing more than another successful season in charge of MK. Mansfield Town have had a respectable first couple of seasons back in the third tier so far. Nigel Clough will definitely look to build further on the crest of a wave his Stags been riding on for the last 3 seasons, and following a good run of form towards the end of last season, get his men to challenge for the playoff spots. Notts County returned to League One following an 11-year absence. They also the Magpies endure 4 seasons outside of the Football League. Having seen their team make steady progress each of the last 4 seasons, Magpies fans will be hoping for it to continue as Martin Patterson graces the third tier. Now, despite a mini revival under Matt Bloomfield, Oxford United Football Club could not make it a hat-trick of Championship seasons as they fell back down to League One. To the happiness of many fans, Matt Bloomfield was controversially shown the door at the end of the season, and despite being under transfer embargo, new manager Aaron Ramsey will still be under pressure to mount a promotion charge. Luke Williams was able to help Peterborough United avoid relegation back down to League Two. However, after at one point looking like potential playoff contenders, following a horrible start to last season, Mans would have likely been hoping for a better finish as opposed to a second successive relegation-threatening campaign to succeed two playoff finishes. With four heartbreaking and disappointing seasons since being relegated back to League One in 2022, Posh fans would like to experience a better feeling over the upcoming 9 months. And as indeed would also Plymouth Argyle Football Club. Tom Cleverley successfully led the Pilgrims off the drop with a very strong second half of the campaign. However, it was to prove too little too late, as they agonisingly fell short of the playoffs. Although having lost their top goal scorer, Tom Cleverley, I can imagine, will be as motivated as ever to go one step further this time. Reading fell away to mid-table after having initially looked like playoff contenders and hoping to go one further after just falling short in the previous season. Liam Richardson remains in charge of the Royals, and Royals fans will be praying for him to draw upon his previous promotion experience as they seek to find consistent form and end the 4-year exile from the Championship. Sheffield Wednesday enjoyed one of the toughest seasons in English football history last season, with well-publicised ownership issues. The Owls managed to come out of it on the other side, though, with new owners and to the delight of many, begin the season with no points deduction. There were a few respectable draws towards the end of last season, though, including the champions Coventry City at their own ground, as well as the last game of the season, ending in the first home win of the season. Renewed optimism would likely be in place, therefore, for Henrik Pedersen's men to have a positive season and mount a promotion challenge back to the second tier. With the second best defence record in the division last season, Stevenage scored their first League One playoffs finish since 2012, but just like that year, they would suffer heartbreak in the semi-finals, having kept more clean sheets than any other team. Borough will be feeling confident of another positive campaign. However, with only 3 teams last season managing to score less than Stevenage's 49, signing a new striker must surely wear on Alex Revel's mind as they look to kick on further. It was double Wembley heartbreak for Stockport County last season as they lost both the playoff and the EFL Trophy final. After 2 consecutive third-place finishes and playoff heartbreak, new boss Jim McNulty, who departed Rochdale to join the Hatters, replaces Dave Challoner, who was very successful there. Will have his work cut out for him as the Hatters hope for third time lucky in their quest for Championship football. Wigan Athletic were grateful for the returning Gary Caldwell to steer them away from relegation last season. Yet to reach the playoffs since getting relegated back in 2023 to League One, the Latics will be praying that their former captain and title-winning manager can help change that in the next 9 months. After flirting with the top 2 for most of the 2024 to 2005 and 2025 campaign, only to fall away towards the end, Wycombe Wanderers would have been hoping for a much better season than to finish in mid-table. New boss Michael Duff did help to bring an improvement, but it wasn't to be significant enough of one, as they couldn't carry forward their pull from the bottom half of their league into the top 6. He'll be looking to draw on his previous low league success and promotion challenges as the Chairboys look to end the 6-year absence from the Championship. Right, if you're still with me, thank you. I'll now share my screen to a spreadsheet as I get this I get the predictions underway. Hope you can all see that. So, in 24th place, who's going to finish 24th? The tough one. I promise I'm not being biased here, but I'm actually going to go for. I'm going to go for. I am going to go for Notts County. Notts fans, I know you did well last season. You did very well. It was quite enjoyable for you guys to watch your team. It was a joint second top scorers in League Two last season. I'm sure you would have enjoyed the playoff final, but you guys kind of stumbled towards the end. I think after looking like you'd been in the top 3, and it was a great playoff final win for you guys. But I just don't have a feeling you guys will stay up. I'm really sorry. I could be wrong. I'm sure most of you guys would hope I'm wrong, but Notts, I'm going to put you guys in 24th. 23rd place. Again, I promise I'm not trying to be biased, but I'm going to go for AFC Wimbledon. Obviously, you guys probably all know that I'm an MK Dons fan. The reason I'm going to put AFC Wimbledon there is because you guys had a very respectable start to the 3rd tier, right? Don't get me wrong. You guys were looking good. But only winning 1 of your last 11 games and losing 9. I just don't see it improving for you guys. I don't really see the signings you've made that are gonna help steal you away. I just don't have a good enough feeling, I'm afraid. So, sorry, FC Wimbledon fans. I'm putting you guys to go down. I'm sure you guys would hope that I am wrong. Now, who do I fancy to join you guys? Who do I think? It's tough because I look at all these teams. I just can't really see many of them actually going down. But some four teams have got to go down. Who am I going to put in there? Um, yeah, I can't see many of these teams actually going down. But unfortunately, I am going to go for. I'm going to go for Cambridge United. I was initially thinking Neil Harris will be up for the challenge, but I think to be honest, I mean, look, Cambridge United were fantastic last season, had the best defensive record. They stormed League Two. They absolutely stormed it. They were deserving of the third place finish, but they proved a couple of seasons ago that they were struggling in League One and didn't exactly score all the goals in the like, all the goals, if you like. That maybe fans would have hoped for them to have scored. Or maybe I've been a bit over the top, but I look at all those teams there, and I think that they're probably better than Cambridge United at the moment. So I'm sorry, I'm going to put Cambridge United down there, but I do think Neil Harris will be motivated. Um, yeah, I think he can probably go down to the wire. They'll be fighting, but you just don't really know. Right, last relegation place. Who is it going to go to, in my opinion? Who do I think? Who do I think? Um, I think it might be tough for Burton Albion. I mean, Gary Bowyer did secure quite a strong finish towards the end of the season, and the Brewers did manage to steer themselves away. But it's like with Sunderland, the Premier League all those years ago. They were always in a relegation battle. They always managed to steer themselves away from it, and then eventually it just became too hard for them to do so. So I'm going to put Burton in 21st place. I'm sure we'll see at the end of the season how wrong I really am with these predictions, but I've got to put somebody there. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Now, 20th. I'm actually going to go for Bromley. I think a lot of people would have Bromley finishing in the bottom four, but Andy Woodman, I trust. I'll tell you why. They were unbeaten at home throughout the whole of last season. They were the best team in League Two. I did stumble a bit towards the end. I think the pressure might have got to them a bit, and they have lost their captain. But if you think about it, these guys are on a crest of a wave. Nobody saw them winning League Two last season. Nobody saw them going and beating at home. Andy Woodman has had three really successful seasons in charge of the Ravens. You know, from winning the playoffs in the National League to finishing first in League Two a couple of seasons later. I mean, these guys are going to be motivated. And I actually just think with Andy Woodman in charge, I just can't see them going down. I think they're going to survive right just outside the relegation. I think it's going to go towards the wire. But Andy Woodman, I trust it. I really do. 19th place. I am going to go for. I'm actually going to go for Leyton Orient. Leyton Orient managed to find a bit of a mojo towards the end of last season. I know we went on the 5-game winning run, and they still have Don Ballard, who I know was one of the top scorers in League One, and I know he's going to be a crucial player for them this season. Now, Richie Wellens, he made it very clear he was not happy with the players celebrating avoiding relegation. But again, do I see them improving too much here? I think they sort of lost their way a lot of the in a lot of last season, and I think they're going to be a bit like Peterborough United have been, where they've had a couple of obviously Peterborough United had a couple of playoff seasons, and then they managed to kind of throw that away a little bit and go into relegation candidates. But I think Leyton Orient are doing something similar here. I could potentially see Richie Williams possibly getting sacked, but I don't think they'll go down. Like I say, we'll probably see how wrong I really am. But somebody's got to finish there. Now, 18th, I'm going to go for Peterborough United. It's just not been the same Peterborough United over the last couple of seasons, has it? Since finishing 4th in 2024. They've just had a couple of relegation-threatened campaigns. They lost their first 4 games last season, I think it was. Luke Williams came in, and he really did look at one point. He was going to steer them towards playoff challenges, but then again they fell away. And all I see is Luke Williams is still in charge. Who have they really signed that's going to take them away from that and back into the playoffs? I'm just not so sure. So in 18th place, I'm going with the push here. I think it's going to be another tough season. 17th place, I am going to go for... I'm actually going to go for Doncaster Rovers. Might surprise a few, but the reason I'm going with Doncaster Rovers in 17th, I know they did eventually find defeat in the Grant McCann, and I know this is a manager who's had a lot of success in the past. Like I say, he's won League One before with Hull City. He's actually absolutely stormed that league in charge of the Tigers. And this is the same Grant McCann who did get Rovers into the top 6 back in 2019, where they agonisingly missed out on the playoffs through that penalty shootout against Charlton Athletic. Oh, the joys of being a Doncaster Rovers fan. But they only managed to finish 14th last season. It was I think for most of it was a tough season. They managed to steer away with a respectable end. But I just feel like the other teams that I'm yet to put into positions, I just think they're all better than the Rovers. So I'm going to go for 17th place, Doncaster Rovers. Now, 16th place, who am I going to go for? I'm going for Wigan Athletic because they've got a good manager in Gary Caldwell. This is the same Gary Caldwell who did win League One with them back in 2016. Again, nobody else was really first apart from Wigan Athletic in that season. But it has been a tough season. They were relegation threatened until Gary Caldwell came back, left Exeter City. But if I look at what he's done, I mean, I know he did steer the Latics away, and they'll probably will be looking to build on that momentum. Oh, the manager who's been there and done it with Wigan before, and they have made they've done some good business. I believe they signed Max Power again, and I know he is a good player, but I just don't see it being the same Wigan as the Wigan that have, to be fair to them, won League One 3 times over the last 10 years. It'll be 11 seasons now, but I just don't think that squad right now is good enough to compete compared to the rest of the teams here. So, sorry Wigan fans, I'm putting you in 16th. Now, in 15th place, this is going to be a tough one. Who am I putting in 15th place? I'm going to go for... I'm going to go for... Mansfield Town. I'm going for Mansfield Town because Nigel Clough has worked wonders there. I believe they finished in the top 10 or 11 last season, and they've had quite a strong end to the season, and they do know what it's like to win a few games in a row in this level as well. But I've just got a gut feeling that they won't be able to kind of carry it forward given the calibre of teams in League One. Certainly the ones that I haven't put into position yet. I think this is going to be one of the strongest League Ones over the last few years that we're going to see. I really do. And in 14th place, I'm going to go for my own team. I'm going to go for MK Dons. A lot of people might be wondering, why am I putting us so high? It's a very fair question, but I'm going to tell you why. We're not the finished article. I saw that on Saturday. And I also know we've got a lot to improve on. But if I think about it, we've got Paul Warne in charge. Paul Warne knows how to get out of League One. He's never failed to get out of League One every time he's managed in a full season in League One. He's got promoted 3 times to Rotherham United, once to Derby County. In 5 times that he's managed in League One, he's never finished lower than 7th. So this is a manager that's going to mean business. This is a manager who's going to want us to kick on even further. And after a really good campaign last time out in League Two, I mean, we were the top scorers. We only finished 1 point away, 1 point off the top, away from Bromley. And we did play some good football. And I think if we look at the calibre of the squad, I mean, look, we've got Aaron Collins, who I think would have hoped to score more goals last season than he did. But I believe, was it in 2022, was he League One Player of the Season or Player of the Season at Bolton Wanderers as they made the playoffs? And I look at other players like Callum Patterson, Nathaniel Mendes-Lang, like these guys have been promoted out of League One. These guys know how to play in League One. These guys are solid players. You know, even Craig McGillivray, he's played in League One promotion chasing sides before. I don't think this is a team that's going to be fighting just for survival. And if I look at some of the signings we've made as well, we signed Cardiff's Player of the Season. Obviously, Cardiff were the League One top scorers with 90 goals. I think it was them and Coventry City who were the top 2 goal scorers last season. We signed Charlie Good. He made the League One Team of the Season with Stevenage last season. We signed Sam Nombe. He knows where the back of the net is. And we signed other players that Paul Warne has worked with in the past and managed to get a good tune out of. So I'm quite excited for the season. I do actually think we can do this and have a really good positive season. I've gone for 14th. It could be higher, could be lower. I could be completely wrong, could be right. Who knows? Now, 13th place, Wycombe Wanderers. This is where it gets a little bit easier, in my opinion, because I just don't think this is going to be the same Wycombe we've seen challenge for promotion over the years. You know, obviously they got promoted unexpectedly in the lockdowns in the season that then ended. That was when we were in lockdown. You know, it was 2020. They got promoted unexpectedly. They reached the playoff final a couple of seasons later. Obviously, back in 2025, they really did look like they were going to join Birmingham City in the Championship, only to fall away. But if I look at that team right now, I see potential. I see a good side there, but I don't see a side that I think is capable of seeing out the whole season, playing to their best. I think if you look at last season, they showed they can play, but they just weren't able to be consistent enough. And I think that's what's going to be their Achilles heel. I don't think they're going to be consistent enough here. I don't think they're going to have what it takes to make the top half of the league, even though they've got a good manager in Michael Duff. I could be completely wrong. I could be right. Who knows? Now, 12th. Interesting one. 12th, I'm going to go for Blackpool. Blackpool, they'd have a tough season last season, but they had such a strong end. They won quite a few of their last, I think it was 6 games. I think they won 4 of them or something like that. And a manager like Ian Effort, who has made the playoffs with Bolton Wanderers before, he's going to be up for this. The problem is, I don't see them being as good as these other sides here. I don't think they're strong enough, but I think they're capable of a top half finish without a shadow of a doubt now, given what they've done. 11th place, I'm going to go for Stevenage. Alex Rebel's sides, they've had a good few seasons since getting promoted back up to League One, that's for sure. And while Philip Marshall did keep more clean sheets than any other goalkeeper in the division, I never thought as an MK Dons fan I'd say that, but fair play, Philip. I don't think they're as good as they were last season. I really don't. They've obviously lost Charlie Good to us. He was part of their League One team of the season. And again, you know, I mentioned in the preview, they only scored 49 league goals. That was lower than all but 3 other sides last season. And what striker have they signed? What player have they signed to A, replace Charlie Good, and B, be able to grab those goals in? When I look at the calibre of these teams here, I don't think they're going to be able to compete as well. So I don't think it's going to be another season in the top 6. I'm sorry, Stevenage fans, but I just don't think it's going to be as good this season. I really don't. I think his squad has got weaker, but he's still got Philip Marshall. can't believe I'm saying that. All right. Who am I going for in 10th? 10th place, Reading. I could have probably put Reading lower. Um, but in Liam Richardson, I think they've got a good manager. Obviously, he won League One 4 years ago with Wigan Athletic in what was arguably the strongest ever League One. So he knows how to get out of the division. But Reading, I just feel like, I mean, Reading fans, if you're watching this, right, don't just think right now you should have made the top six by now. And the fact that he didn't just really spark alarm bells. And I think there's something wrong with the squad that they're not making top six. They're not, again, a bit like Wycombe Wanderers. I don't think they're performing as well as they could be doing. And I just don't see that changing. You know, I know they agonised and missed out in the season before last. I know they've got a good manager, but I just see Reading near sort of the mids in League One at the moment. I just don't see you guys being able to make that top six. I just don't think you're there yet, unfortunately. I think that'll be your aim to make the top six, but I just can't see you guys succeeding. I really don't. Now, ninth. I'm gonna go for Barnsley. The Tykes have appointed Daniel Stendhal as their manager again. That last time they had Daniel Stendhal as their manager in League One, they stormed the division, finishing only 3 points off the top, and they were in the top two throughout the whole season, along with Luton Town. So they got a manager who has been there and done it at Oakwell. But this is not the same Barnsley. They've really fallen away over the last couple of seasons. They really have. And I know they've got some good players in there. I know Rose Cleary is quite a good player. I know on paper it's a talented squad, and they've got a manager, like I say, who has been there, done it, and has got the tune off Barnsley. But I think these sides here, I think they're a lot stronger than Barnsley. I think it's going to be too much of an ask to get to League One top six, but I do think it's going to be an improvement. Maybe Daniel Stendhal could be the right manager. Who knows? But I'm not too convinced, I'm afraid. Now, eighth. I'm going to go for Oxford United. Because these guys are under a transfer embargo, and so they're not able to strengthen their squad. And they lost a crucial player as well in Will Lancashire. They only had him on loan, but he's now gone to Middlesbrough. Obviously, Middlesbrough signed him. I think it was permanent from Spurs, but they need to replace him. They won't be able to. I know they've also lost a goalkeeper, Matt Ingram, who I saw some fans say was better than Jamie Cumming. I see their squad being weaker. Aaron Ramsey isn't really a proven manager yet. This is going to be a big job for him. And I actually think they're going to fall outside the top six. I really do. So I think this is going to be a tough season for the U's. I'm afraid. It's going to be an interesting one, but I think they're going to fall just short. In the seventh place, just missing outside of the playoffs, I'm going for Bradford City. The Bantams shocked a lot of their fans last season, I think, and shocked a lot of fans across England by challenging for a second successive promotion. They've got a good manager in Graham Alexander. I know as a Dons fan, I saw him at Dons and it didn't really work out for him in the end. He got quite unlucky, but he has shown what he's capable of. In the past, he's gone to United and now also at Bradford City. This is a manager that does mean business. And while I think they're going to challenge, I don't think they're going to be able to complete the challenge like they did last season by making the top four, as they did. I don't think they're going to make the top six. I think these sides are a lot better. Oh, certainly most of them are. And I just think that it's going to be a heartbreaking season for them. I don't think they're going to be good enough to make the top six, but they're going to be up there. Now, for the playoffs. This is where it gets interesting. These other sides, I definitely think will make the top six. 3 sides got relegated, and 3 sides who were definitely challenging last season. I think they are the best of the best in League One. Who's the worst out of these 6 sides? I'm going to say Sheffield Wednesday. Um, I could quite frankly put them higher. I think they do have a good squad, and I think last season I said in my preview, these guys did manage to kind of find some better form, if you like, towards the end of last season. I really do believe that. Yeah, like I said, they drew with Coventry City. They managed to finish last season with a win. And I think overall, since getting relegated, well, since having their relegation confirmed, if you like, I mean, they were relegated before balls even kicked. The more you think about it. I do think, though, that we saw what they were capable of. And I think that's going to give them, in its own little way, some sort of momentum to build upon. And I think Henrik Pedersen's going to be motivated. I think the squad's going to be motivated. They obviously won the League Cup. They beat Bolton Wanderers, so they've kicked off this season with a win. I think there's going to be an ooze of positivity, which they didn't have for pretty much the whole of last season towards the end. And I think that's going to really put them in good stead as they seek to mount a promotion challenge back to the second tier and bring smiles back on their fans' faces. Now, in fifth place, it's going to have to be Huddersfield Town. I think they are the worst out of these remaining five sides. They made two strong starts to League One in 2 seasons back in League One, but both times they fell away. But I don't know. I think his name is Martin Drury. In him, I trust. I think the squad's going to be motivated. I think they're going to make another good start. But I just have a good feeling. I mean, they finished last season with a win against AFC Wimbledon. I know AFC Wimbledon weren't really doing too well at the time, but I think that shows, what they're capable of. Obviously, they won 4-0. I think the Terriers are going to be up for this. I actually think it's going to be the season where they make the top six. I really do. And good luck to them. Now, fourth, I've gone for. I'm going to go for Stockport County, actually. I'm not going to go for Plymouth Argyle, like I was about to. Jim McNulty will be motivated. He had a fantastic season in charge of Rochdale. But I don't think Stockport County are as good as the other three sides that I'm yet to put in there. I do think that they've got a really, really good side, but it's a side that's struggling to fall over to get over their line, really. And I can't see it getting any easier for them, if I'm going to be honest. I think it's a stronger League One. I don't think they're going to be able to compete. It's a new manager. They've not got Dave Challoner in anymore. And it was quite a bad loss as well against Bolton Wanderers in the player final. And if you look at it, they only got 77 points. And I'm saying only, but I mean, look, there was a time when that wasn't even enough to make seventh. And I just can see these other sides definitely getting more than 77 points and the motivated managers. And I don't think Stockport are going to be able to keep up with them. I actually don't think they're going to get promoted this season. I'm going to put it out there now. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be, after Crystal Wave, some heartbreaking League One seasons if they're able to eventually get promoted. I don't think it's going to be this season. Third place, Plymouth Argyle. I don't think they're as good as the two other teams. Tom Cleverley will be motivated. He turned that ship around in the end. They were bottom in November, I believe, but they had a really strong second half of the season. I remember they got some quite good results, including against Cardiff City, but it just wasn't to be enough last season. Yes, they've lost Laurent Tillage, who was I believe, their top scorer. Yes, I know he's an important player for them, but I think it's going to be so much motivation in that squad to really put it right this season that I think they're going to be one of the best sides in the division. Unfortunately, I think these other two sides are going to be better. Right now, I'm going to go for my first and second choice. I'm going to put them in together. Second place, I'm going for Luton Town. If I can actually get them over there. The reason being, I think Jack Wilshere is a really motivated manager. It took time for them to find their form, but when they found it, they got it, and they won the EFL Trophy, which was quite a nice thing for the fans to win after everything they've been through. I think they've got a fantastic squad. I think this is going to be where the 3 seasons of heartbreak absolutely ends, and I think it's going to be a case of smiles back on Luton Town's fans' faces. I think they're absolutely gonna blow it out of the water, and I really do see them just going back up to the Championship. I think they found their mojo. They got a good enough squad. I absolutely think their time is going to come now. They are going to get promoted without a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion. I'm that confident about it. And in first place, gone for Leicester City. if I'm going to be honest, there was nobody else could have really gone for him first. I mean, how are Leicester City even in League One? Seriously, they've surely got at least a Championship quality squad who are underperforming. I mean, I know they had a points deduction, but where did it go so wrong? Ross and Martin's going to be motivated to get out of this division. He got promoted to the Premier League a couple of years ago. I know Sky Sports they were saying is this his last chance. Well, to be honest, I think he's at the right club. I think he's going to be motivated as ever. I think he's going to motivate the squad to get back up to the Championship. So I think it's going to to be honest, a bit like when they were in the Championship back in the 2023 to 2024 season. And I think it's just going to be a case of no one else is really going to be able to win this league. I'm really am that confident about this. But yeah, guys, that does wrap it up. I've been meaning to do these predictions for quite a while now, and at last I've finally done it. I'm sure in May I'll find out how wrong I really am. This always for a bit of fun, so if I've put your team lower than you would have liked, I apologise now. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have I got it right? Have I got it horribly wrong? Where would you put the teams? Have I overestimated MK Don because of Paul Warne? Have I underestimated the promoted size? Have I overestimated teams like Leicester and Luton Town because of their calibre? Is there going to be a team that's going to absolutely surprise us and blow us out of the water? How strong a League One is it going to be? How not so strong do you think the team might be? Let me know your thoughts. But yeah, that does wrap it up. And if you've liked what I've had to say, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you're watching this for the first time, I hope I've won you over to watch some more videos. Please also share the video as well if you can. And if you've liked it, it does help me out a lot. But yeah, that's it for me. Let's hope I'm wrong and that Don's going to have a really good season. But yeah, thanks for watching. Good luck to all teams. Hope you have a great week. Thank you. Goodbye.